Hello, people. Hello to everyone listening to us on this Rebel Labs interview with a virtual drug speaker. If you're catching us on the podcast, hi to you as well. So anyone who is listening, greetings to you. So my name is Oleg, and I welcome you to this Rebel Labs interview with an amazing speaker that we had this week, basically just right now. So welcome our guest. She's a 3 times virtual drug speaker, and Java Council podcast member. She's a worldwide famous Java developer, a Java champion, and a developer advocate for JetBrains. Trisha Gee.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Yeah, that's not even it. She like going from your Twitter bio and some sources on the internet about you. Trisha has the great expertise in Java high performance systems. She's a MongoDB master. And yeah, so working for JetBrains, she shared all the cool stuff that she discovers in the world with the whole Java community. So that sounds like a lovely person and a great bag of experience.
It sounds like a lot of work, actually.
It is an impressive amount of work. So happy to see you again. We didn't do the interviews before during your previous virtual drug sessions, so. A quick word, how was your session today? You did great. That I was blown away.
Thank you.
The demo worked, but like, how was that on your end?
It went well, actually. I've said this before about the virtual drug stuff, is that it takes a different skill to doing the real life presentations, because you can't get a feel for the audience following you, or are you losing them? But I think this time it went very, very well. I thought that Simon jumped in at the right moments when I was like, "Oh God, are we losing people?" And yeah, I think it also helps that I've given this presentation about 75 times now. So even though I decided to change it this morning, so it's kind of a little bit, well, in one place, fundamentally different to how I normally give it. Even that bit went well. So thank you, demo gods.
Yeah, it was a very slick session. So what you did, for people who didn't watch the session before but jumped straight to the interview, Trisha created the JavaFX application in Java 8 from scratch. Very slick UI. Everything went really well. So go watch the session itself, and let's go into the interview questions. So a blitz round of questions that we ask all the people, all the speakers that come to us. You don't have to explain yourself. If you have a preference, just go with it. Let's start. Is computer science a real science?
Oh, that's interesting. I wish I'd watched some of your other interviews. Is computer science a real science? I don't know. Isn't it somewhere between engineering, science, craft, and art? It has to be, surely. I mean, maybe the way you teach computer science in terms of things like big O notation and data structures and performance, that can be kind of a science, but development is not a science. Being a developer is not a science or an engineering discipline, I don't think.
That's great. Do you prefer static or dynamic typing?
Static.
Static. What is your favorite JVM language then?
Java. Is that really boring?
No. The Java currently, actually, Java gets more and more responses here recently, maybe with Java 8 adoption or something. But, well, I think Java is the great language, or great community, personally. But we'll talk about your opinion on Java as a language a bit further, because this is interview with you, so not me. What is your favorite open source project?
What's my favorite, did you say?
Open source project.
My default to work on at the moment is Morphia, the object document mapper for MongoDB. Mostly because I was working on that a lot over the last year or so with MongoDB. It is open source. I have a line of communication with the main person, Justin Lee, on that. So it's much easier for me to contribute to. So out of pure laziness, really. Plus, also, one of the other things I like about Morphia, other than the fact that I know the domain reasonably well, is the fact that it's like a real, genuine long-standing piece of code. It's got some areas which are improving and some areas which are very good and some areas where you can really make a difference by making the code cleaner and prettier. So yeah, Morphia probably.
That's good. I bet people will check it out. So what is the worst thing a software developer can do, like professionally? What's the worst habit to have?
I wish you'd sent me these questions beforehand so I could have thought about them.
No,
I'm actually
go with your heart.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go with something around the soft skills, definitely. Like maybe something as simple as not listening, not being willing to listen to other people's opinions, not being willing to learn and grow. So, for example, you could be a software developer who is really terrible at coding, and frankly, anyone like myself, with fresh out of university, coding in Java was a horrible, horrible software developer. But it's got nothing to do with your ability to write code. You listen to people who know better than you, or at least people with different opinions to you, and you weigh them up, and you look at the way that maybe how easy their lives are as developers versus your life as a hacker, and you try and you absorb things into your way of life and into your way of coding, and you get better. But if you don't listen, whether you've got 1 year's experience or 20 years experience, if you don't listen, don't take things on board, don't see that other people might have a valid point of view, then you're doomed. Like, how are you ever going to get better?
Yeah, and progress is what defines us as more efficient, more productive people.
Right. I mean, the Java we were programming in 10 years, 20 years ago is not the same Java that we have now. We can't write Java 1.1 code now. Well, we could. It would work. But the point is the best practices we were doing then are before, what's it called? What's the Josh Block book? Effective Java, right? So we can't carry on writing Java the way we wrote it before Effective Java version 1 was published. We could, but we spent 20 years getting better at effectively the same language. So, and that's the point, was we should be able to get better and improve.
That's true. That's true. So let's talk about progress a little bit and get into the domain that you know, or well, you know that amazingly well, and you showed that during the session. So obviously the whole demo was using IntelliJ IDEA. I believe that's a preferred IDE for you.
Yes.
For me as well. What is the most exciting feature in the upcoming IDEA 15 release for you personally?
I don't know about exciting. I just spent the last week creating 10 different screencasts of all the different features in IntelliJ IDEA. So I'm glad you asked me this question, because this is definitely fresh in my mind. From the Java 8 point of view, there's a bunch of stuff in there which makes Java 8 really easy to use. So there's, like, in the gutter, there's some little icons which help you see what type your lambda is. There's debugging for lambdas, which just makes life so much easier than they were before. And there's things like you can find out what types your lambdas are as well. That's a new feature in IntelliJ IDEA 15. So that's nice. There's some really nice stuff actually around. I feel compelled to demo this now. There's some nice stuff around when you're running tests. It shows you in the gutter the status of each of the tests. They go green or orange next to the actual test itself. So it puts the context of the results of your test next to the code of your test, which is really nice. It's just a tiny thing, but it's a really nice feature. And then there's some other stuff, like I was actually having to do some Scala stuff this weekend so that I could demo the new Scala features. And the updated Scala plugin and new Scala features look pretty good too. But not being a Scala expert, I can't really comment other than, oh, it's kind of cool, I like it.
That's great. That's a great list. I'm looking forward to trying the IDEA. I mean, the 15th release out.
Yeah, it was just released yesterday, so it's brand shiny new.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded that. Didn't upgrade my operating system as well. So you mentioned Scala. What other languages do you have experience in? And you mentioned during the session, you said a controversial thing, that a need for Groovy might go away a little bit with the Java 8 adoption, which I don't want to grill you about this. Like, is that the Java champion talking, or what are the JVM languages that will not be as relevant with the upcoming advancement in Java? What do you think?
So I'm going to caveat this with, I've been doing Java since 1997. It's not the only programming language I've ever used, but it's definitely the one I've used most extensively. So obviously I feel most comfortable with Java. I know it best. So it is going to be my go-to language. So even new stuff, I like Groovy a lot, but even Groovy, I'm like, well, but there's things I would prefer to use Java for, like anything which requires some sort of speed, for example. But I really like Groovy for things like, I love Groovy for writing tests. I like Spock for writing tests. Having said that, with Richard Warburton's Lambda Behave testing library, we get some of the features that we get from Spock in Java 8. So if you're not lucky enough, if your organization is a bit kind of, you can't adopt new technologies, some of the features in Java 8 let you get some of the advantages from something like Groovy. But I don't see Groovy going away anytime soon, or Scala, or we've also just released the beta version of Kotlin 1.0. So we're using Kotlin extensively inside JetBrains. We use it for developing the IDE, we use it for plugins. We are genuinely using this as a language. It's not just a toy language for us to release and for other people to play with. So, and that's got different characteristics again to Scala and to Groovy. So all of these languages, they all have their own niche and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. So I can't see them going away anytime soon. I can see Java continuing to steal, gently borrow ideas from other JVM languages that work really well.
Yeah, I like this opinion. Honestly, I don't see Java replacing them, so I never had like an urge to write the bits of Gradle build script in Java.
Right, because why would you?
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. But it gets, like, it's a very mature platform, so it will only get better.
And I think that with the JVM supporting, obviously you can run the JVM pretty much anywhere, that's sort of the point, but with the idea of the move towards microservices, and you can write things in small services that run independently, but if you can run them all on the JVM, you can pick whichever language is going to work for that tiny service, and all you have to support is the JVM underneath the covers. So it's a bit less scary than running something like microservices in a bunch of genuinely different languages in genuinely different platforms.
Yeah, and that's true. An image that, what have you built? I'm not sure who created it. Probably you've seen it, like with the graph of different technologies, like a heap of different technologies. That's this hilarious nightmare image that comes to mind. Sadly, cannot reference better here. But let's go into the last question that I want to ask you. So there is an opinion among people, like they say that people who cannot make it write and teach other people about this thing, and there are other people whose opinion is that the best way to become a 10x developer, a really productive developer, is to make 5 other developers twice as effective. So which camp is closer to your heart? Which group is wrong? Why? And what do you believe?
Well, as an evangelist / advocate, obviously I'm not going to say people who educate don't really know anything. It's a different set of skills, isn't it? You definitely, if you spend a lot of time creating material for other people to learn off, you are naturally going to have less time to be doing coding all the time. So you're going to be doing less coal-faced development. However, during my early career in particular, I definitely worked on a lot of projects where I was doing Java every day, but I wouldn't have said I was getting any better at programming every day, because a lot of it is kind of hacking around the current system, being forced to implement something as fast as possible, not being aware of new technologies which will make your life easier. You're too busy writing code to learn anything. So being away from the coalface of development doesn't necessarily mean that we don't get to improve as developers, because we have to do a lot more finding out what on earth is going on out there, like learning Scala this weekend. Yeah, that was awesome. And but educators, so one of the reasons I really like doing the advocacy is because I really think that you can have a much bigger impact if you can help developers get better. If I can help 5 developers get 10% better, that's a massive improvement. But actually, given the fact that how many people did we have on the VJUG today? We had like 600. Well, we probably didn't have 600 people, but we had like hundreds of people.
Yeah. Many hundreds will watch in the upcoming weeks. So.
Right, and if they all learn one new feature, which helps save them time and effort, then I've made way more of an impact on productivity, on development productivity, on the IT world, than if I churned out 3 features in the next week. So, but it is a different skill because not everyone wants to take what they know and disseminate it to people, because it's difficult, because people see things from different points of view. They see things in different ways, and what to me is really obvious is not obvious to every developer. So it's not an easy thing to do.
That's true. This bit is like 100% true. Even more, that what you think is obvious is absolutely not obvious to other people. So if anyone has a good bit of knowledge they could share with a team, just go and share it explicitly.
Yeah, even something really stupid. Like, one of the reasons why I'm good at using IntelliJ is because we did a lot of pair programming at LMAX, and we just learned tiny keyboard shortcuts that you would never think to ask anyone, how do I do this? Because you just always do it the long-winded way. But seeing someone show you how to use shortcuts or how to use your tools is enormously useful and productive. And they're tiny things, like, I don't know, one of my favorite shortcuts is Command Y to delete a whole line in IntelliJ. And it's just a stupid tiny thing, but it just makes life easier.
Oh, that's the whole sentiment is great. You hit very close to heart to me. Command D should be delete the whole line, but this is the personal preference. We won't go there. I want to thank you for this interview. It's been great pleasure to watch and experience your session.
Thank you.
People will get encouraged to use JavaFX or Java 8, obviously JavaFX, if they need some UI things. It was an absolute blast. Hope you have fun.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on the VJUG.
Yep. So thanks again. However you're watching us, just take care and see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Trisha.